how our shit be going.
Oh, and you gotta pull that like this. There you go. You can. Don't be. No, we're good. Yeah. Be comfortable, and don't be afraid to speak into it.
Speak
Because
to the
we want
mic.
to be able to pick you up.
You gotta bump your nose with it sometimes.
Ease, you know. So, how we doing today?
Good.
Cool. Feeling alright? Ready to
Yeah.
ready to jump into some of these topics, you know?
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. So, all right, Much to Do About Everything podcast, episode 6. I don't know exactly what we're gonna title this yet, because it's just a lot going on. There's a lot that has been going on the last couple weeks. But yeah, I'm here with y'all. I'm Zaire, Ziggy Holy Wave on Instagram, Bossable Beats on Instagram as well to follow my music. I'm here with my homie J5.
Yep, Johnny Hines, _2 shoes on Instagram, and Will to Win Athletics on Instagram as well. Follow me on both pages.
And we have a special guest today. Go ahead, guest, and tell the people, where they can find you, who you are.
So _B Fergie _ on Instagram, and my name is Becca.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into a few topics today, just things that have been happening lately, and things that have actually just recently, like within the last day or so.
Yeah, last 48 hours.
Last 48 hours. So, I think. What's new in the streets is our first segment. We used to like to just touch on topics that's going on right now concurrently. And, being in California right now, it's a lot of fires. Especially Northern California. It's like you look outside and it looks like overcast, but it's just smoke.
Yep.
And, I can't do anything. I work usually if I'm in my garage in my studio, I have the garage open. Can't work right now because of the smoke quality. The air quality is just too horrible.
Yeah, I think I know it's affecting a lot of us, especially personally affecting me with having an athletic performance training business and can't be outside with the kids because I can't put them in harm's way because it's not good air quality for them to work out in. So that's definitely been affecting my business. And it's definitely been affecting my everyday life because, you want to go outside. It's still August. You want to take your daughter outside and play at the park, but it's not the safest environment for her to be out there. So that's definitely been tough in regards to, just basically living a regular life. We already got to deal with the corona, and now we're dealing with, these fires right now. So I know it's a tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah. And with that being said, how is it? Is there any alternative that you can figure out to get training in? I know these kids, they rely on you a lot.
Yeah, and there are alternative things to do, but I have not been utilizing them yet. Like my workout equipment is outside. A lot of the stuff that I do to train is outside. And if I was in a position where I had like free range, well, maybe my garage, then maybe I can outfit that whole thing and make a garage and maybe put like its own sustaining AC unit in there. But right now, that's not a possibility. So right now, I just gotta take those times when it's safe to train and when it's not. But like I said, the air quality has just been so poor. I had a couple kids reaching out to me like, "Hey, coach, we haven't been able to train last week because of the air quality. So are we not going to train this week?" And I told them basically no. I mean, until it's safe for you to train with me. And I got some kids that have asthma, so that's already tough for them to breathe as it is. And my workouts are already strenuous, so I don't want to really put them in no harm's way. And I might be CPR certified, but I don't choose to want to use it. So, it's really, there's definitely some alternatives, but right now I'm not using any of them because it's not really, basically, I'm in position to do any of that right now. So,
yeah, I feel it.
Becca, in regards to you working, because you're working in a corporate business, in regards to like job, how is the fires affecting you, like even with traveling and traffic, and then going back and forth to work, and then just basically working in a bank and then having that smoke, and then all the corona and everything going on with that, how is that affecting you and your business?
So with the pertaining to the fires, so coronavirus actually already let us get ahead of it necessarily. So like we already have a controlled access. Before, if you used to go into any bank, doors would be open and anybody could walk in and out. It's not that way anymore. We live in a really different time. It's corporate America, so we're gonna keep it pushing regardless. There's not a thing of like, oh yeah, the air quality right now is 150. That's it. Like,
Right.
no,
There's
we're
no
still
excuse.
showing up.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of the pandemic, we were still there for everything. So I guess at that point, it really is more, you're looking at people coming in for their finances or doing deposits or whatever the case may be. But you are like wanting to sit them down with a mortgage rep of like, what does your insurance cover? Where are we at with a lot of these things? How are you protecting your assets? A lot of people think it's like super smart, especially with the pandemic. They were getting scared. So withdrawing large lump sums of money and keeping them at their house because they were afraid 2008 was going to reoccur
Right.
and, their money wasn't going to be there anymore. So if you're listening and you have money stashed in your house, I do not suggest it. Get a safe box, put it back in your account, do something.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, it's not, I would tell you to record like your home. Make sure that you have a recording of everything in your home. Make sure you have a go bag. We had to evacuate last October. And so you're able to reassess of what is actually important, what you need to take before, leaving. And a lot of the things it's like, we're going to take everything if we can. And it's not like that. It's not, what do you need? Do you know where your birth certificates are? Your important papers, maybe closed for a week. I think that's what we packed last time.
And my Xbox.
Then, his Xbox.
gotta have it.
His Xbox, my business stuff we took, and that was it. And then before we even put it back in the house, we like cleaned everything out, threw it all away. If we didn't take it, it obviously wasn't important enough to keep. So it was gone. But no, we keep it.
And that's important. Prioritizing what is really, really important or vital for you to be able to take if you do have to evacuate during a fire is vital. And our hearts do go out to those who have lost their homes, lost people, lost, whatever it is, land.
Yes.
Some people, I think I read something, this guy, he spent decades building his dream house and now it's all ashes.
Man.
And this is just right across the bridge. Like this is just Vacaville and Napa Valley and all of that. So yeah, obviously, there's going to be a lot of victims and, we feel for you guys.
And the people that are fighting it too.
Yeah.
Firefighters are definitely
of course,
going out there, but there's a lot of prisoners that are being sent out there.
Yeah.
And they're not getting, there's no compensation for stuff like that.
Well, that and the prison population, especially in San Quinn and that area, a lot of those prisoners have COVID. So a lot of the resources that were available to fight these fires aren't as available either.
Right.
So yeah, just, it's a messed up situation. And for us Californians, for sure.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the first responders and firefighters all over the world right now, putting their life at, in harm's way to protect our, daily lives and well-being. So we appreciate you guys and we'll be praying for you guys and your families.
Yeah, so in other news, we have yet another disturbing video and another shooting involving law enforcement and an unarmed black man. His name is Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. From what I understand, he was barbecuing with his children. There was a fight nearby or so. He broke up the fight. Cops came. He, like most of us would do because we're afraid of police, we avoid them. So he's walking away from the cops. I feel like he had ample time. They had ample time to detain him if they wanted to without a gun. They follow him back to his car. He gets his children in the car. He goes to his driver's side, apparently, is getting in the car, and they shoot him in the back multiple times. What do you think?
Well, obviously, I didn't know the backstory about it, like the barbecue and all that. So I just seen the video. So the video obviously alarmed me, pissed me off. And in a sense, I felt there was multiple situations and methods they could have used in regards to detaining him. Like I said, you can see in the video there were 3 police officers with their guns out. If they really wanted to detain him and talk to him and get his story right, they could have stood in front of him. They could have boxed him in with all 3 cops. They also could have used their arms and restrained him because he didn't have anything on him that we could see.
Right.
So I feel like there was no need to use lethal force in that sense. Also being told that he is still alive, he had surgery, and he is in stable condition.
Yeah.
But never should kids or the mother of the child have to sit there and be witness to that, because it was I feel like there was a lot of things. I don't know the situation. I don't know the prior to. I don't know what he was saying to the cops face to face. I do not know that information. But I feel like it still doesn't escape that use of force was unnecessary, and especially at that amount of time with that close range, to be shooting a man in the back was unnecessary, and it was just brutal. It was a unnecessary use of force, and once again, that is all we're pointing out. It doesn't matter what color you are. Cops are out here using unnecessary sense of violence, and it seems like it's less and less patience with African American males than it is with any other race. So that's one thing that we definitely want to point out, that we are still being treated unfairly in this country, and the video continues to show that. So, Becca, as a person who is non-black, when you see these videos and you have a daughter who is black, like, what do you think about, and what is your reaction to the video and the situation?
So I don't really, I always look at, and unfortunately within the last 5 months that Breonna Taylor, we just hit 5 months on Breonna Taylor. I am thankful enough that I don't really see black or white. It's white and wrong, and it's morals on morals. So understanding that I am not a person of color and I don't have those injustices, I'm very aware that I am raising a mixed child, and that unfortunately, outside of her just being a woman, she's also going to be discriminated against on the color of her skin or how kinky her hair is, or there's it's an injustice. Trying to make myself so aware though and get involved. I hate that it's another hashtag, and that's what a lot of this can turn into, especially with social media these days. A lot of our parents and the older generation, they teach in ignorance, and hate can't drive out hate. We also know a lot of cops. We have a lot of police officers that we're around ourselves, and that's where your uniform is a choice that you put on every day, but the people that I'm around now and majority of my time, it's not a choice, so the fact that there are injustices in the city and the system, in any capacity of a life, it's really trying to make yourself and your kids so aware that it's unfortunately going to have to happen. We did protests at the beginning of George Floyd, but I think more than anything, I'm really now trying to educate myself, because I'm never really going to understand. There's never going to be a day where I will 100% say, yes, I know exactly how it feels, but I do know that I can't say that I love the people around me and I love my daughter if I'm not willing to fight their fight. And so that's where, register to vote, get involved in your county, get involved in where the funds are going. Knowing where the funds are going. So a lot of these funds are getting pulled from our schools. Sports are still there for the most part, but you look at a lot of the uniforms, you look at the arts that are really just disintegrating from the systems. That money is getting put back into police. Yeah. The fact that I went to beauty school and I had to put in more hours to go to beauty school than a male or female who is deciding to go to police, puts in for training, you know? So the
Right.
fact of these are people who are really going in there, you know, they're looking at a financial compensation, they're looking at benefits for their family. These aren't people who are well equipped, or they're not well informed, or they're not staying well trained. They're not searching out. So the fact that we have to continuously educate ourselves how to protect ourselves from the police, and the police aren't educating themselves of how to protect their communities, I think is where, you know, this huge gap is. Unfortunately, Nevaeh, our daughter, will eventually have to have a conversation with Johnny, or with, you know, I'm very gifted in a way that I have a lot of strong Black women around her because I can't, I'll never relate to my daughter on that aspect.
Yeah.
But as a mom, as a person, you know, I think trying to make sure that it doesn't just look good for my social media aesthetic. I'm actually trying to, you know, understand. I'm trying to educate, and essentially still trying to make a difference. You know, I think the generations that we have now, Gen Z is such a wave in the fact of like, they don't care who they're making mad. Like, they just want to make an impact. So that's really, you know, where I think I'm at with it. Make sure that you register to vote. Election day is November 3rd, but California deadline is October 19th. You can do it online. You can send in your voter registration through a form, but it's not, you know, it's not just a movement. This is for life. And the only way that we can make a change is to make a change. And we can't do that if we don't have the voices to do that.
Yeah. And the thing that you were saying in terms of us educating ourselves, sometimes I feel like the issue that we repeatedly run into is that it also seems like we have to educate the police. You know what I mean? And that's not our job in that sense, that we have to, these are public servants at the end of the day. And their job is to serve the public, not, and when we have these types of situations where it's just somebody else who has nothing, they're not a criminal,
right?
They're not committing a crime, and yet they still end up with bullets. It's like, okay, what is this gap between what, I don't know, what they would call a heated situation or a spur of the moment situation, and your actual training and your education? Like, there's some type of there's some type of disconnect between
and discipline
the two of them.
too, right? Because you look at, even with Jacob Blake, they were put on administrative leave. They're not being held accountable for their mistakes. So, you know, you're saying that these are my brothers in blue, or these are my sisters in blue. I don't know if I can cuss on this, but if that's your brother or your sister and then they fuck up, then you should call them out that they fucked up. It's not, it's the same thing with a relationship, with a friendship. If you messed up, I need to hold you accountable to that higher standard.
Yeah.
You're hurting people and these families. There were 3 kids in there from the range of 3 to 7 years old that just saw their dad got shot not once, but 7 times in the back.
Yeah.
After getting taken. I mean, you can hear it in the video that the horn is going. He fell out on that horn.
Yeah.
Those are triggers. Now that's PTSD.
Yeah.
Now that's, you know, these are, and now whatever they were taught before, that is hate and anger for police that then go ahead and continuously creates this vicious cycle of hate and hate. This or that.
Yeah. And that's what's most unfortunate is,
and it's our big thing with having
it's going to influence more. Yeah.
We don't want to
distrust.
We don't want to like teach her in ignorance.
Yeah. Reverse prejudice. We don't want to create that.
And we have a very blended family between the two of us, to where there are a lot of conversations that now have to be had with an older generation too, of like, this is what you were taught, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
And this isn't, you know, how can you, and that was mine, and, you know, Johnny's biggest thing is, how can you love my daughter but not understand the injustices that she's somewhat going to have to face? How can you love my spouse and not understand that, you know?
That's a big point. Yeah.
And I think that's like our biggest thing right now. You know, anything that's coming on the news, you know, unfortunately, the president that we do have, hopefully not for longer, but that we have had, he stands for hate. I don't care if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, but I do care where your morals are.
Right.
And that, you know, that's where I sit, is if your morals are siding with somebody who spews hate and prejudice. And Johnny always says, if you're going to be racist 100% of the time. Absolutely.
Right.
But if that's what you stand for, I'm out.
Yeah.
I choose to not be with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's unfortunate. I really feel for his family.
Yeah. And speaking of Trump, the Trump administration just they want to declare teachers as essential workers in a push to keep schools open for this fall semester, to open schools this fall semester, to have children, students in class, in person, school. You, Johnny, as a educator who has had to be impacted all year by COVID, what do you think about this decision?
Well, I think if there are certain parameters included or involved in this, I have no problem with it, because we have two of the biggest things that I worry about. Obviously, I live with my grandmother and I have my daughter. So she's of the elder generation. So her conditions and her previous, medical conditions will affect her tremendously if I so happen to be at school and contract the COVID, and I could be asymptomatic and bring it home, and it not affect me, but it can affect her, fatally. So that's my biggest thing. And even I was saying that I would definitely consider it in regards to if there was some type of like hazard pay, a part of that, my salary per monthly, meaning like, $1,200, $1,500, whatever the case may be, us putting our lives at danger to teach these kids, because even as teachers, we're already underpaid as it is. And we have so much outpouring love in the first couple months in regards to how we want to teach kids, and how important our jobs really were when parents got home and they had to teach their kids, and they're like, man, teachers are making $1 million a year, whatever the case may be. All that being said, sounds good, but there's no action behind it.
Yeah.
Yet we keep talking about how we're essential workers and we should be forced to go back to school, but yet we're not even getting paid the money we deserve to begin with. How are we in charge of molding all these minds and all these great young people out in the world to go out and do great things, but yet we're one of the lowest paid occupations in the world, and yet we're getting our budgets cut constantly, but yet you want to make us go back to work because you feel the need to make us go back to work. That makes no sense, and you don't have a plan. It's just like right now we just been flying off the handle, just going with what they think is right, when him as the president, Trump, is not even following the, expertise or the advice of his own specialists and people around him. So I think it's laughable. And most of the time, most of what he says or what he does is laughable. And he doesn't really have a good grasp or understanding of, other people's situations, because he's all about himself. And so he wouldn't really understand what it's like for other people out here, especially being a teacher, especially living with other people, to a point where by us being forced to go back as essential workers and not even get the, I guess you can say, the compensation for it, and we're putting a lot of people's lives in danger. And what's the worst that can happen? I mean, like, what else can I do? I can say, well, I'm not going back. Well, then I don't have a job. So how am I going to provide for my daughter?
Yeah.
Because I'm choosing her safety over dollars. So humanity over dollars, but yet, how do I like offset that? Like, what do I do with that? Like, I can't declare, well, I'm not going back to work as an essential worker. And then if I do that, I don't have a job. So it's a catch-22. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I go to work, and then I become susceptible to the COVID, or I don't go to work and I don't have a job. So then I'll be stuck in these times where it's already hard for people as it is, now trying to find a job. So it's like, it's a real tough situation to be in right now. And I think he's being unfair. Obviously, nothing is right and nothing is, being pushed forward. But it's just something that he wants to do, and he constantly keeps talking about it. Even with the stats and numbers going up, he still wants to try to declare and make people go back to work, which doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, that's basically my stance on it. I can talk more about it at length with, but that's the gist of it. It doesn't really make sense. He has unfounded expectations of just trying to get the country, back moving again. I can understand from his perspective, he needs to get everything moving. And if the education system collapses which is already on its last couple legs as it is, it will be very bad for the economy and society.
And that's what's so dangerous about the situation. For educators, just for schools, period, there is that balance of, are we going to put these kids in position or in danger to where even if they're not necessarily affected by it, where they could potentially still bring it back to their families.
Right.
Not all teachers, not all school teachers are young. Like
Right.
a lot of school teachers are.
There's a higher percentage of 50 years old and up right now.
Right. And so yeah, it just obviously I don't think anybody would advise someone to make a decision that they would consider risky.
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? And so I don't know why exactly this administration would want to throw this many millions of kids
Right.
speaking in harm's way like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Meg, anything on the subject in regards to Trump declaring teachers essential workers?
I mean, I think it's different when we look at teachers versus schools open and actively open. I have a line of educators in my family, and I know my stepdad is still going like to his school because he can get his work done there. It's better for him, mind space, whatever. My grandmother goes in a couple of days out of the week to get her stuff in, but they're not face to face, and they're not asking kids to come in. And so I think that's really like where that gap is if you need to get on campus because I know I couldn't work from home because I know I'm not going to be as effective if I'm working from home than I am if I was in like a work setting.
Yeah.
So, it's that aspect of, or, maybe you got kids running around the house and you do need to have that space to be able to teach those kids that are in front of you. I do get that not everybody has that opportunity because if their school is closed, then how are you supposed to leave your kids at this point?
Right.
If you can't deem it safe for a lot of these corporate companies, Facebook is shut down right now. The campus at least, Google shut down. If it's not safe for adults to be in a workspace, then why would it be safe for kids and schools and anything else to be open at that point,
Right.
So I think we can all agree that we have we have an idiot in office right now that really doesn't think well, or definitely can't articulate himself enough. And he definitely doesn't have a team behind him that believes in a greater good anyways.
Well, I think he has a team behind him. I think he's just not, taking their advice. It's been multiple occasions where he was speaking and addressing the media and people were looking at him sideways, like, why would you say that, or what are you doing? And he has like scientists and some of the best minds in the world next to him, and he's not utilizing their information. So I don't think it's necessarily he doesn't have a good team behind him. I think he just doing what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. So and let's be clear, he is a puppet in the sense of the president has power, but they don't make the rules. So it's like the legislators and everything, and that's why back to the voting aspect. Get the right people in office, get the right people in Senate and Congress, and then we'll get the right change we want. State, local, state, and federal. But right now, with him, a lot of stuff he says is for shock value. I personally believe that he just like to say things that will get people like, oh, what did Trump say? Clickbait headline. So unless he has a true plan, or his people have a true plan in regards to declaring teachers, I don't think that we'll see that. But
well, yeah, and I think Florida teachers just sued him, and the judge ruled in their favor. So be on the lookout for a lot of this to happen in other states too.
Well, yeah, he do that shit out here. Best believe I'm gonna be on that to sue his ass. I need some extra money. But in lighter news, man, moving on from that situation, there's been crazy feedback on this this new song. I think we previewed the collaboration one of our previous episodes with Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, and this song is very popular, is very controversial, and it's polarizing because it has everybody talking about it. But it's what is it called? WAP.
Yeah.
So WAP. Whew.
You know what it stands for. You already know what it stands for. We ain't even got to get into that.
Yeah, WAP, if you ain't heard the song or you ain't seen the video, I would suggest you do your research on that song. It's definitely a very interesting song. And it's not the first. Obviously, we have a lot of songs that can be like, oh, this one shouldn't be on TV. Right. But there's also been platforms for that, such as like BET After Dark or Uncut, whatever the case may be. That no longer exists, and this is being played on our radios. Even the edited version is going like inappropriate. So, and from my perspective, I can appreciate good music. I can appreciate good content. I can appreciate edginess. But I believe the way this song is and what is exactly talking about, it is horrible, especially in this day and age, in the sense of we have so many young women, like we talked about on the show before, that's being influenced by the wrong things. So as a man with a daughter, obviously she's not listening to this, but there's a lot of young girls out there to this day where parents aren't being as, I guess you can say, strict or disciplined with them in regards to letting them listen to this. So it's a lot of kids out there, listen to this song and they're just thinking it's cool, or they're glorifying the acronym and they just don't understand. It's a lot of, I think, like I said, these are adult women making an adult song, so adults should be only listening to the song. But we're not going to be negligent to think that young kids haven't heard this song or not listening to this song. So I think there has to be some type of mindfulness and some type of accountability for Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B in regards to the type of content they're putting out. So I know, like I said, it's one of those situations we can't help. Like, you can rate a song rated R, but or a movie rated R, but I'm pretty sure there's some 11-year-old, 10-year-old sneaking into an R-rated movie to watch it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some kids who know damn well they shouldn't be listening to this song who are listening to it. So it's just a tough situation to be in as an artist, and then situation obviously as a parent that you need to be mindful about what your kid is doing and what they're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
So as an adult, just you yourself. I
like the song.
Okay.
I like the song. I'm rocking with it. I can't wait until Kids Bop comes out with a version so I can listen to it in my car with my kid.
Boy, Kids Bop, y'all going to hell if y'all even think about trying to remake this song. Let's be clear right now.
But I haven't seen the visual. I know that there was like a lot of controversy over like Kylie Jenner, I guess, was in like the video of it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I haven't seen the visual yet, but as a song, as a Cardi fan, as a Meg Thee Stallion fan, like,
it works.
I'm here.
It works.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's kind of like almost like, well, what else do you really expect from Cardi and Megan? Like,
right.
I expected some heat, but I ain't expect that type of heat. That was a whole different way. They went with that.
And it's catchy too, because like I wasn't really listening to it. And then all of a sudden I'll start hearing, I'm like, oh, I don't cook, I don't clean either. Like, let's go. Like, but
we now, hey, hold on out here now. We now promoting women that don't cook and don't clean. So get that shit together.
But
right
I do think right now that like everybody is so
uptight.
Yeah, uptight, and like you forget at some point it's not these celebrities' jobs to raise your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if my kid is listening to it, and he gets on me too, because I was listening to Cardi in the car with her in the car, and it wasn't censored.
Yeah.
But I also hope and I pray throughout the years that we set our daughter so straight in a foundation through our parenting that listening to a song, your kid shouldn't be so weak-willed and easily influenced if you're there as an active parent and showing up. It's not these people's jobs. You know, we're looking at Chrissy Teigen, and there's just all these things that are now coming out. One, they're human. Two, this is also a job, so they got to get paid. So if whoever's writing these songs, we got to put them out. But it's good music. If this is up your
and I think it just comes down to this simple thing. It's a song. It's a type of song, and it's very specific. It's a very specific vibe that the song is for. It's not going to be the barbecue with grandma song, or you know what I mean. Look at a
lot of our songs. I wouldn't sit there and listen to with my parents of like, oh, okay, we're gonna switch this one.
Yeah.
But hanging out, parties, when the world was open, any like clubs that were here, like this is coming on, and guarantee everybody's about to be up.
Right. Yeah, but everybody don't got that WAP. So a lot of y'all out there singing that song, y'all better replace that W with that D or weak AP, because we not about to get all of that. Y'all in there singing with confidence like y'all got that. Feel me? Like you don't need a couple squirts before.
Right. So yeah,
I'm just saying.
But speaking of WAP, we know we got Cardi on there, but we also have Meg on there, and she's recently spoken out about this Tory Lanez situation. I know we spoke to it maybe like about a month or so ago, and now that we actually can hear from the horse's mouth a bit on the situation, one, what are we expecting a statement or something from Tory Lanez at this point? Is there any way he can defend himself against
the fact that Meg Thee Stallion had to get on a social platform and give like a piece by piece matter shows how much this world still suppresses a woman's voice.
Yeah.
Regardless of what was out there. And I think even if he puts a statement out there by now, that's it. And of course, you're always going to have two sides of everything, right? Yeah. You're going to have the people who are going to side with him and the people who are going to side with her. But the fact that this woman got shot, everybody wants to talk about it, right? And then she has to go on there before people can actually believe her of what happened and speak for herself is a shame.
Yeah.
I almost line it up to the same thing of, when we look at rape, well, you shouldn't have worn that. That's not it.
Right.
It's not on you. It's not a woman's place to be suppressed with these situations. And if they happen and if it's factual, regardless of what he has to say or whatever the case may be, she got shot by a dude. Like that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think like she's saying that from a dude perspective. First off, I don't believe in really putting your hands on a woman in no way, shape, or form. Definitely against shooting somebody. So I don't think nothing he can say would like validate anything. It's nothing he can say. He could come on and say sorry, and even that won't change anything. But at the end of the day, it's nothing he can do to come like, hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro, I shot her, because it's nothing you can say that's gonna validate why you did what you did, bro, because you're wrong. So at this point, all he can do is personally just reach out to Meg Thee Stallion, clear that air, apologize until, and then he just move on. But him coming out in the public, he's better off just doing his stuff behind closed doors, apologizing to Meg Thee Stallion and her whole crew and all that, and then leave that shit alone, because you're making it hotter if you're going around having your entourage or your people call vlogs and lie and say these wrong things. In fact, when like she said,
she tried
in her video, she's trying to look out for you, bro. Like, you supposed to be in jail. Like, nigga, you shot somebody and got away with it, and she ain't try to do you no harm. She ain't try to put you in jail. Like, bro, you should be like, you feel me, kissing her ass or something. Like, you doing it the other way around. Like, that ain't no type of appreciation, when she could have took your freedom away if she really wanted to. If she was on some bitter shit, even she wouldn't be, because it would be justified.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing he can do in this situation that's going to put him in a good grace. All he can do right now is keep making music, stay out the way until, like we do in our world, unfortunately, until that shit just becomes so old that you forget about it. You feel me? Because that's what the situation is. Because now we're talking about Jacob Blake when George Floyd was, months ago, or Breonna Taylor killers, and the police officers still haven't been arrested. So it's, at this point, he just needs to let some time come between it and then just move the hell on, because at this point, there's nothing he can do or say that will justify his actions and make it all right.
Yeah, there's no way to justify his actions. And if he hasn't by now made apologies to make, for his behavior, he has to do so. But he also has to suffer whatever legal ramifications come with that, whatever consequences come with that. It's very, very, it can't be stressed enough that in terms of just society, Black women don't feel protected by Black men, like and as a group. And so the fact that we have a Black man shooting a Black woman, on top of the fact that like domestic violence between man and woman is just, especially, from where we come from, has just always been out of control. It's like, when is there going to be some like level of balance from any of this? It always seems so unproportionally. I'm not saying balance in the sense that like who's committing it against who,
right?
But I'm just saying balanced in like I just feel like I see a lot more of these types of situations, and I'm not meaning like shot, but just conflict, like domestic disputes that end up violently, whether there's weapons or not. I see that more in proportion to like not seeing it.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just a reflection of just where I am or what my perspective is, or if it's actually like really like just the society we live in right now where shit is just crazy.
Yeah, it can't be normalized though. That's what I'm saying. My whole thing is if it ain't right and you see it, you got to speak up on it. You got to do something about it. I don't care if I'm at a Target, bro. I can't stand by and just watch a man punch a woman in the face or push her down or whatever the case may be. Most people be like, that's not my business. But it's like, if somebody was doing it to your daughter in public, would you just let that slide?
Right.
So put yourself in that person's shoes. In the same way, like before I spoke a little bit, I made a comment in regards to the situation, like, well, if she tried to attack him or punch him, whatever, she made that clear she didn't touch him. And even then, it should never go to that extreme of shooting someone.
Never.
So, like I said, there's nothing he can do at this point, man. And he just got to take that L. And like Charlamagne would say, he got donkey of the day for a reason. So it's like, you just can't do no shit like that and it just be good. So
yeah. And last thing is, it also points to that, like, situations like these, and like, especially in this country with like however the racial situation has been, Black women have had abuse by Black men, but also protected them because of what the greater authorities, how the greater authorities view Black men. You get what I mean?
So you gotta look at like the psychological aspect about what she did. Like she like, okay, I got shot by another artist, a Black man, but yet here I am still protecting him, and yet I get the shit end of the stick.
Right.
I'm looking out for you so you don't go to jail and lose your freedom because of a situation we had. I'm willing to move on and forgive that over time, but here you are spreading, rumors and shit about me when I try to look out for you. So at this point, like,
which is insane.
Yeah,
like,
she said, I should have turned your ass in because, bro, I did this just for me and looking out for you. But then you're not looking out for me. Then I'm the bad guy when I'm the victim here.
Right.
So I was like that shit was just unfair, and it was I'm very unfortunate for Meg Thee Stallion, and prayers up for you in your camp.
Yeah. So, I guess there's this tweet going around right now about this dude, and I'm laughing already because I thought it was funny, like when I finished reading it. And he said, if my girlfriend cheated on me, I wouldn't fight the guy. I would take him out for a drink and learn from him, find out what makes him better what makes him better than me, and grow. It's all about growth and hustle. Never stop grinding 24/7. Alpha.
Shit.
Yeah. I can't stop being cheated on. I laughed when I read this. How did you feel?
Well, so his maturity level is definitely higher than mine, because that's I guess you could say circumstantial, because if I walk in and my girl getting her shit pounded, it's gonna be hard for me to not beat both their ass. Secondly, maybe like he said, I agree with I wouldn't fight the guy. But I definitely wouldn't take his ass out for dinner. So he got me all the way fucked up on that one. So his maturity and growth is way higher than mine. And like I said, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't fight him. And that would be a situation between me and her for sure. But I definitely wouldn't take his ass out to get an opinion on how he is better or not better than me at whatever. So that was just one of those situations
that's out.
I'm a little confused on that and what he hopes to gain, because you must have been already like disinterested and already out of your relationship if there's no emotion attached to you and you can go take the high road to go say, hey, brother, you just had sex with my girlfriend of how many years? Hey, I want to pick your brain, and how'd you do that? Like, first off, nigga, you already had her first, so you know how to get her. So the difference is you don't know how to keep her. So that's for another story. But I wouldn't go call somebody out to try to take him to dinner to ask what I can learn from him, because I'm pretty sure I need to learn from myself and I need to learn from the situation. He's the outside factor that just so happened to come in between, as when realistically it was both of our situation, myself as the boyfriend and the girlfriend, who obviously has some miscommunication and some things going on in our relationship that led that situation to happen. So yeah, I was super confused by it, and I definitely laughed at it. It was very interesting for him to think that he's on some deeper growth shit with this, and he just sounded like a clown. So that's basically where I'm at with that.
Becca?
Yeah, I'm not taking no girl out to dinner and talk about how she got my man and what can I learn from this. It's not a coaching opportunity.
Yeah, nah.
I do get in like the contrary of it, of like being the bigger person, that it's not that person's fault that came in.
Okay.
You know, like I get that it's not, okay, so the guy, I get that. And just from situations, it's not always that person that's coming in. But like Johnny was saying, there's already something that wasn't there in that relationship, or there's like no emotional connection. So I can get like that, the mutual respect of like, you know what, you came in, that's yours now. It was never mine in the first place if it was that easy to take from me. But we're definitely not about to sit down and have a powwow over this.
No. Yeah.
Like,
and that's why I laughed, because I thought it was some simp shit. I'm not gonna lie. And I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a joke at first. Like, I hope he's not serious. I hope this was just for getting
shock
attention.
value.
Yeah.
He just wanted to see how many people was going to agree. Yeah, bro, I'm
He
with you,
got
bro.
viral real quick.
I don't know. Maybe he's thinking this is what women want to hear. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Nah, hell nah. If y'all, hey, bro, don't be sending a bad message out here, because then you're going to just make it cool for them to be out here powwowing and shit.
On some like, see, oh, look, you can cheat on him and he just go take the guy out for a drink. And
Nigga, y'all can go visit Diego Lopez, because don't bring that shit over here. Shit.
Yeah, that's out. So,
hey, bro, like I said, to each his own. Shout out to @this Diego Lopez. To each his own, brother. But we not doing that over here in this camp. Becca already know what it is.
So here on Much2do About Everything, on our Instagram, we just had a community spotlight. Talk about that real quick, J5.
All right, so we want to create a more content, more visual content for you guys. So we created this segment called Community Spotlight, where we spotlight and we acknowledge somebody in the community doing good or providing certain services. So we want to create awareness and basically give you guys like free advertising and marketing on our page, where we kind of like just basically highlight people in the community doing great things. So certain services they might provide that might be beneficial to you. It's just a way for us to bring our community closer together. And what we're doing is we're interviewing people on our IG Live on our Much2do podcast page. And we just want to get to know you better, want to give your community a better understanding and feel for you as well, what you're bringing to the table, your benefits of what you have out there, and how maybe our community can build that big network, and we can just all get together and build off of each other. So if you have like a party supplies business, if you're an athletic trainer, if you're a chef, if you're a mechanic and you're a mobile mechanic, if you do notary and you do a notarizing of important documents, whatever your service may be, this is definitely the opportunity for you. So if you guys have a business and you guys want to be featured on Community Spotlight, all you have to do is reach out to us on our Instagram page, DM us, let us know what you do, what you want to provide. We'll try to schedule a Community Spotlight time for you, a date, and then we'll go from there. So if you're not aware, like you said, go on our podcast page at Much2, the number 2, do podcast, and check out our most recent one where we featured a life agent and Melvin Alvarez, and definitely check it out. And then we have Shaman Wright coming up this week with Bridge Builders. I believe we'll do that interview at 6 p.m. on Thursday, so you guys tune in for that. And like I said, if you have any opportunities or any time that you guys want to reach out to us in regards to the Community Spotlight, please do that. DM us, or you can DM me at _2shoes_ on Instagram, or Ziggy Holy Wave on Instagram, Zaire's personal Instagram, or you just go straight to the page and DM us in regards to wanting to be featured on Community Spotlight and what that looks like and what services you provide. We'll also put up a template at some point today or tomorrow to show you what that looks like and what questions we'll kind of be filling you guys out with. So please go on the page and check out our Community Spotlight.
Well, all right. So before we get out of here, we got to talk about this Monica Brandy versus coming up, because I know everybody who's our age at least should know who Monica and Brandy is and grew up on their music. Yeah. I think this is something that's something that's big for R&B. I think R&B has needed something kind of just to bring us back to like what built it up to this day, and I think Monica and Brandy are huge components of that.
Oh yeah.
So who you got in this battle?
Were they the first woman like individual artists to like do like a duet or duo like that against each other?
From my memory, I feel like it was really them who kind of.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know of any other black R&B artists that did that.
Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, but that was after. No, that was a few years later. I feel like Monica and Brandy is really
and then like I said, maybe they not the first, but the way they did it, their approach and their attack, because the song was "The Boy Is Mine," and they literally went at each other, in a vocal battle back and forth about a situation, which was classic and very clever. But to answer your question, this one's a hard one actually. Growing up, I listened to a lot more Brandy than Monica.
Okay.
I listened to a lot more Brandy than Monica growing up. Obviously, she was also very featured on Moesha. Obviously, that was a big show for the culture. Yeah. So she was out there, so we naturally gravitate to her a little bit more.
Yeah.
But boy, you can't deny Monica hits and her and those songs and her voice, her range. Most people say, man, I think Monica, people forget Brandy's range and how she really could, you feel me, blow and let it go. So I don't know, but I think this is going to be a good battle. I think hit for hit, Monica, because she stayed in the game longer than Brandy did. Obviously, Brandy has hits, but Monica, when Brandy had her full moon album, you ain't really heard nothing after that. Significant. She did that one of her most latest songs she did off of that was that song with Kanye West. But outside of that, like R&B songs, like that you remember to this day, no. Monica was still doing songs with Young Buck and all that. Like, yeah, so I think because Brandy decided to like disappear in her own personal life and like, value her own personal life and growth more than her, I guess you could say her musicianhood. I just think that Monica can get her in a sense that she stayed longer. It's like, it wouldn't even be a doubt if Barry Sanders would have kept playing, who would have been the best running back of all time. But since he stopped playing after like 7 years, then it's up for debate. But I think Brandy has a very strong resume and catalog for what she has out. But I think Monica can edge her out on a couple songs because she stayed a little bit longer.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Brandy. Just because I feel like Monica has like singles. I feel like Monica has songs, but I feel like Brandy had albums. And I feel like in a versus battle, sometimes it's really about how people remember, how people like nostalgically can get taken back to when they first heard your music.
That's true.
And I feel like Brandy is going to definitely have that nostalgic thing. One of my favorite songs from Monica is Before You Walk Out My Life. And that's nostalgic for me as the 90s. But like when I think about that time, it also makes me think of how much Brandy I was listening to. You know what I mean? What about you, Becca?
I think I'm going to go Brandy. Like I keep looking at like the first song that popped in my head was I Want to Be Down.
Yeah.
And so I instantly think about like the nostalgic of it. Like where was I? Or like even now of like, I feel like we all used to talk about barbecues and cookouts and just listening to like good like 90s music.
Yeah.
And a lot of Brandy's songs was that time, you know?
Yeah.
I'm curious of who's gonna sing "The Boy Is Mine" first, so I want to see. And then they also had another song that they did together. So I'm excited. I listened to Monica a lot like later on because she really stayed relevant in like middle school years, and that's where she like really started coming out. But I think Brandy's gonna take it.
I mean, Monica also had, remember there was like that challenge. One of her beats, people were like doing like that social media challenge. Maybe like, I don't know if it was like
Monica
10 years ago or so. You know what I'm saying? That's the So Gone challenge.
Yeah.
And so, I think, some people feel like it's going to be a wash. I definitely don't think it's going to be a wash. I don't think you're just going to get Brandy out of there like that. And I don't think you're going to be able to run Monica out there like that either. But I am expecting a good battle. I'm expecting to hear some dope music that I ain't heard in a while.
I want Monica when she sing "Why I Love You So Much." Just sing the whole song, please. I gotta hear the whole joint because you're gonna have me vibe with you, and then you're gonna cut it off on me. I'm gonna be mad. So I just want to hear them hit them classic and
right.
Well, it's been nice in like this platform, like the COVID now. There's no concerts, there's no live music. A lot of albums haven't been getting released at all, like at the beginning of this year. So now that they have the platform for this, and they're bringing a lot of us back to, good music and our, like the years that we grew up. So I think it's going to be a good battle.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But once again, appreciate you guys for joining us on another episode of Much2do About Everything. Tune in to our Community Spotlight this Thursday with Shamon Wright of Bridge Builders. Also, preview our last 4 or 5 episodes on YouTube, and we have a couple episodes up on iTunes podcast right now. So please go give a listen to those. Feedback is always warranted. We appreciate all the feedback, comments, and interaction with our page. We look forward to it. We want it. And like I said, thank you guys for everything, man. God is love. Love is God.
Please make sure you vote.
Yeah.
I feel like I just can't stress this enough. If you have moved at all in this year, make sure that you're registering underneath your new address because that can impact your voter registration. Like I said, for the state of California, you have until October 19th to make sure that they do get mailed in. And obviously with everything going on with USPS right now, you want to get that in sooner than later. So please make sure that you use your voice. Your vote matters. We definitely need it for this next 4 years.
Yeah, man. Much to Do About Everything podcast, episode 6. It's a wrap. Bada bing, bada boom.